Hey everyone, so it's Leanne Barrable here, the Devonshire Shepherdess, and today I'm going to speak about throwing out the generational rulebook. So if you are like me, have been in a farming family that's a generational farming family, so I know there's definitely at least 4 generations of my family that's been farming, and there's probably a lot more as well. Like the chances are my family's always been in farming. And what you get amongst farming families now, and it actually annoys me it annoys me. What you get is, well, this is the way granddad did it, or this is the way dad has always done it, blah de blah de blah. And I see multiple men and women who are working alongside their parents and living in their boots, basically. And I have learnt that although my dad has done it one way and his dad did it one way and his dad did it one way, actually it's not always the right way. It might have been right at the time, but farming is ever changing. We're ever getting new science, we're getting new pieces of machinery, we are learning more about our environment and about the nature around us. And so I just say, throw out the generational rulebook. It's got to go. Like, I am an anomaly when it comes to generational farming, because I am like a 4th generation farmer who has just had a potentially 5th generation farmer. So my little girl's 6, and I want everything to be different for her than what I've had it. Everything, which sounds drastic. But if you're like me, there's this element of you that just gets so annoyed with how things are done and just want things to be different. I'm fed up with seeing my mum and dad slog their guts out. That's honestly what I'm fed up with seeing. I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with them thinking that they can't go on holiday and have a nice time. Because they've got to be worrying about the farm. I'm fed up with them thinking that they have to be out till all hours because that's the way it's got to be done. And I just think that there's a different way. And I, as myself, I have been standing against everything that has ever happened on this farm. Every single thing, spiritually, physically, everything, scientifically, everything that has ever been done on this farm is currently being shook and flipped on its head. I want to go into an organic farming system but not have the paperwork. I can't be asked to fill out any more paperwork, and I ain't going certified organic just because it'll just be loads of paperwork. But I can prove to people that we're not using man-made fertilizers, we're not using, you just have to look at accounts and stuff like that, like to see that we're not using those things. We're not using medication. I want to reduce our medication to like next to nothing. I hate buying antibiotics. I hate it. I've had to use much more antibiotics this year than I've had to in the last couple of years, and I hate it now. Whereas before it used to be my go-to. Oh, just jab it. Bad foot. Oh, sheep with bad feet. Come on, you're forever jabbing the flipping things. And I've like literally had enough, and I'm literally like throwing the rule book away. I'm throwing the generational rule book away. Now the thing is, every single farm is different, and every single farm has its own way of doing things. You will know that if you've lived on it forever or whatever. You will know everything that there is to know about your farm, but you might need to start digging deeper. So if you've not looked at the soil, look at the soil. If you haven't looked at the spiritual element of your farm, look at your spiritual element. If you've not looked at the grass that grows or the trees that grow, or how many farmland birds you've got, or do the dung beetles come when they're supposed to come to break down the dung, or how many bees are flying around, how many owls are flying around, how many rats have you got? Oh, rats this year. I really feel that this is time to really start breaking the rules, I guess. breaking the rules that have been set by years and years worth of farmers who most of the time are running on fear, and when we do things from fear, it is the worst thing we can do, because it basically makes it worse. It makes the fear in us worse. It kind of like feeds the fear. So as farmers, because nothing is in our control, nothing's been in our control about the market or anything, we're always in this fear of, on this farm, it's the red tape. So we are conscious to always make sure we're hitting all the, we make sure that there's not too many cows in a shed. We make sure the spaces are right, because there's standards for how big a gap a cow can be in and a sheep can be in a shed. And we're always really conscious of that stuff. And we're always really conscious of, making sure water courses are protected and all these things we're always really conscious about. And it's fear. It's fear all the time. And I'm not saying to you go and get rid of the red tape, because to be fair, there's a lot of animal welfare stuff in there that we need to follow, because I know that there will be some farmers out there that don't follow it, and they're the ones that let it down for the rest of us who do follow it. I say to my dad, at any given point, an inspector could walk onto this farm and we would pass. Anytime. We don't have to have 2 weeks warning because the place is a tip and we've got to tidy it up. It is always organised and tidy. And, the one thing we might get caught out on is that the medicine cabinet isn't locked, but that would be it. Farming is fearful. It's coming from fear all the time. And I just feel that even more so in the generations, it's come from fear. You need to spread fertiliser, otherwise your grass isn't going to grow. Those are the words of clever salesmen who have made a lot of money in the past through farmers who have been scared that they're not going to be able to grow their crops properly or whatever. So I'm just encouraging you today to throw out the generational rulebook and start living farming as your heart leads you to live it. What is your heart saying about your farming practice? What is your heart saying about your animals? What's your heart saying about your ground? What's your heart saying about planting trees or whatever? What is your heart saying? Because particularly if you're a female, you'll be very intuitive of this, because we're nurturers, and essentially the ground around us, the earth around us is nurturing. It's naturally nurturing. So us women are essentially, we're already geared to work out what the nurturing element of it is. It just depends then. And then we get the men to do the heavy work. That's what I do. I broke my body. I can't do what I used to do, but the men can, and they love it. So if we can just get to a place where we can guide our men in a different kind of way, then I think you will be so blessed. So I hope this message has spoken to you today. If you want to follow my page, then press subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook. If you're following me on either of those two things, you can also message me as well. And I'll speak to you soon.